Can you first talk about the $20 and $200 presentation? That's what I call it, anyways.
Yeah. Okay. So there was a guy. True story. He gave a keynote at a conference. It's a hilarious story, and he stands up to deliver his keynote. It was a financial services conference, about 500 people there. And he stands up, comes up to the podium, kind of just gets himself organized, and he puts up his title slide and a few bullets. And there's a typo in his title. I mean, it's just this heinously bad typo in his like foot-high red letters.
Yeah.
And you can imagine this is just this horribly embarrassing moment, right?
Yeah.
So, and you look at this, you think this is almost irretrievable, that he is completely screwed. Now, what is he going to do?
Right.
And in fact, it's so bad, somebody calls him out on it. Somebody literally raised their hand and said, I mean, this is how much you respect us. You know, there's a typo in your title slide. So the room is sort of a bit stunned and a bit embarrassed. And then what happens next is absolutely amazing. You know, actually, I have my wallet in my pocket, so I'll do it. What he did is he takes $20 out of his pocket and he comes down off the stage and he walks out and he gives it to the guy who'd called him out. And so now the room is just completely, stunned. They don't know what's going on. And
Huge impact.
I didn't know you were going to ask. It did. Now, I didn't know you were going to ask this, but roughly what he then does is, I don't know if I didn't know you're going to talk about this, but
you can pretend your two singles are 200.
No, it's okay. He takes his wallet and he does this. He pulls $200 out of it and he puts it, anyway, more or less, he puts it right on the top of the podium in full view of the audience. And he says, his legendary words, there's one more typo in my slides. If you can find it, you get $200. And the place absolutely erupts. Now, the reason we tell the story, and it's a really interesting moment, which you understand now because you've read the anecdote in the book, is we do this in all of our workshops. We say, okay, now that game he's played, they're loving it, it's funny, it's engaging. Is it a good decision or a bad decision? It's a horrible decision. He is dead as a communicator from that point onwards. But he doesn't know he's dead. And the reason he's dead is that he's broken several fundamental rules of communication, but he doesn't know he's broken them because he doesn't know what they are. And that is the premise of the book, which is we don't have the right rules. We don't have the right framework. So here he is. His audience loves him and think he's brilliant, and he's getting all these accolades and applause. But in fact, what's happened is, his audience is now. So what is the real problem? The real problem.
Tim, if I may interject real quick, after reading that story in your book, I immediately thought, this is brilliant. Before, I'm like, this made an impact. I'm never going to forget this too. Obviously, I'm asking it to you right now. So I am an audience member going, I will never forget this story, or this moment.
Yeah. Now, this is so profound. So you'll never forget that story. Absolutely. But if you think about his effectiveness as a communicator, from this moment onwards, all his audience is doing is scanning his slides, looking for that second typo.
Right.
They're not tracking with him. They're not listening to him.
Yeah.
They're looking for that slide. And by the way, Adolfo, I don't know the answer, but I'm pretty sure, where did he put the second typo? Almost certainly on the last slide. Yeah. So what he's done is he's taken a game that appeared funny and interesting, and he has, through that game, completely destroyed his effectiveness. And you know how I know that? The guy who told me the story over a year after it had happened. So what he did was certainly memorable.
Yeah.
But I then asked him, his friend of mine was called Mark. I said, Mark, what was the guy's subject? What were his ideas? What was he talking about? And he said, I've got absolutely no idea.
Right.
And what's interesting is, so he's done something memorable, but he hasn't achieved any real goal as a communicator. By the way, there's an interesting sub-point here. Audiences evaluate speakers based on how entertained they felt.
Huge point.
They don't evaluate speakers based on what they learned. So if you have a very animated, fun guy telling a lot of jokes and bringing the crowd to life, then he will always be regarded as popular. But he has not accomplished what he needed to accomplish as a communicator. The ultimate goal of all communication is the transmission of ideas between two human brains. And this guy failed completely, but he didn't realize he'd failed because he doesn't even know what the rules are.
But he did gamify the whole thing. I mean, that's big here in the Valley. Is a big thing is to gamify, right? Everything. Yeah. But yeah, that's all he did. Right?
Yeah, you would want your game or illustration or exercise to teach a point, and then what it's doing is reinforcing the thing you're actually trying to accomplish.